we're back, or should I say I'm back from Nashville.
She's given me nothing.
I've given you nothing. The group chat was asking me so many times, like, what is happening in Nashville? What is happening in Nashville? And to be honest, there was too much happening in Nashville, even for the group chat. It was insanity. And I just think, I thought to myself, I'm not going to tell too much to you because I wanted to save it for the podcast. So this was my first time going to Nashville on like a more sort of like work capacity, shall we say. And I went with the best of intentions that I was going to be super professional and this was a work trip and we are going to just smash it out. And I ended up having a bender for about 7 days. But you just can't help it in Nashville. It is just the vibe. It is Temptation City. It is the music just makes you drink and the drink just makes you music. Like, it is just incredible. And it was a festival.
I was just going to say, on top of Nashville being Nashville, you have the CMAs, which are incredible, like established and up and coming artists. And
the main thing I want to say about the CMA Fest to the British fans is that there is so much free stuff you can do. You can just buy your ticket to Nashville and just get the accommodation. And even if you don't buy a ticket to the Nissan Stadium in the evening, which is kind of like the O2 of Nashville, you will see your favourite artists throughout the day for free. All the other stages around Nashville, the riverfront, on Broadway, everything is free. And that's got, Megan Moroney was playing on one of the riverfront stage, Tucker Wetmore, Shaboozey. I saw all of them for free. On top of that, there is so many different stands and different things going on. They're giving out drinks, they're giving out different things. There's like, you can do that trip on a budget and see some incredible artists. So I really encourage everyone from the UK, if there's one time to go to Nashville, I think CMA Fest is actually it. And I know that, you know, you kind of think, oh God, is it going to be really busy? Is it going to be really hot? It was hot. It was hot for my British pale English race skin. It was hot. But in terms of the busyness, I would suggest that you go the Thursday and the Friday and maybe the Sunday. The Saturday was a little bit too busy for me on Broadway. I think I was also very hungover, but that's the day where it really gets quite packed on Broadway. The other days, totally fine. There was so much room. You can go in and out the bars. You can get distracted. You can go see the stages. It was incredible. I can't focus on that enough that, like, if you want to go to Nashville, CMA Fest is an incredible time.
So to be clear, it's 4 days, is it? Thursday to Sunday? Because I didn't know this. So the Nissan Stadium is evening only for the headliners?
So it's like late afternoon, evening only. And I would say that's kind of like country to country, imagine. It's just artist after artist after artist. And it is an incredible lineup. You can't fault it. But I definitely felt that because I was in Nashville and that was special, that I didn't want to go to that too much because I felt like sometimes we can see that here at the O2. So I wanted to really be more like in amongst it, really getting the content for you guys. And my God.
She has.
It's there. So I suppose maybe we should just like talk about everything. Like maybe I thought chronological order.
Let's do this properly.
This feels like, you know, when you haven't seen your friend in a long time and like me and you will say, we've got an agenda.
Literally, we do that.
There's things to cover. Yeah. Okay, so I land in Nashville. I'm a little bit nervous. I'm on my own. Yes. You know, last time I went, it was obviously for a different reason, for my bachelorette, and I'm there 3 months later, single, and now they're working. It was all a lot, and I was nervous and excited, but nervous. My friend who I was staying with, she just had a facelift, so she was...
Of course.
So she was unwell and sort of like lying down in bed, but she said to me, you have to work with this videographer I've got you. And he wasn't really replying to some of my emails that like solidly. So I was like, oh, I lined up a few other people anyway who I was interviewing to just follow me around with a camera for 4 days.
Also, that in itself is hilarious. Like, we don't really know what we're doing. Katie's going to Nashville on her own. Let's just hire a random man to follow me around for 4 days. This could have gone one of two ways.
One of many ways.
Many ways.
But Tracy, so she was like, no, you have to have Rodney. You have to have him. And I was like, why does she want me to have Rodney? Like, why is he that good? Is he like, I couldn't really see much of his stuff because he's a film director. So it wasn't like he had loads of social content examples. Anyway, so she's going, you must have Rodney. I was like, okay, fine. And she was like, oh, Rodney's going to come around and check the cameras, check all the kit tonight. I was like, okay, fine. I'm like in my pajamas. Like it was like late in the evening and I was like jet lagged and all sorts. Rodney walks in, 6'5", gorgeous and newly divorced. I mean...
Okay, did not know that
And
detail.
I think Tracy just looked at me and was like, do you see why I thought you should have Rodney? A total dreamboat in terms of like great guy, really fun. We really got each other's humour straight away. And I just went to bed and I was just like, oh God, this is going to be trouble with a capital T. Anyway, so we go to day one.
Yeah.
It's hot. Nashville is cooking. The streets, I'm just overwhelmed with like just the whole thing. It's just, you know what Nashville is like. I mean, if you haven't been to Nashville,
go
straight away,
Firstly.
Immediately. The music is from every day from 10 a.m. in the morning. There is like, I don't know, 30 bars each side with live bands from 10 o'clock in the morning, people getting drunk. It's Vegas. It's Ibiza.
Can I just say to the people who are maybe not Vegas Ibiza fans, you don't have to be on a crazy bender like Katie.
You don't.
You can, like Broadway's the main street. They have all the windows and doors open up. So it's kind of like open air. And you can just wander into like whoever's bar, like Jason Aldean, Miranda Lambert's. And there's just an incredible, you don't know them, but they're such good musicians and playing songs that you know. They're going to do covers to draw you in. And you obviously can be there with several drinks, or you can the atmosphere alone is enough.
Yeah, it's enough. It's overstimulating. It's overwhelming. It's you go home and you're like, what? Where have I just been? And also one of the good things I did in this trip, actually, as I did get to go to I went to East Nashville. I went to loads of different sort of outskirtsy places, and it really just show you that there's some really legit parts of Nashville other than just the main strip. But as I said, it was a festival. So when in Rome, but so Rodney and I are going around with a camera. I mean, it was kind of a bit of like my kink having someone film me for 4 days anyway. Like so let alone this be like an attractive man who
also,
was great
no offense
fun.
to Rodney, but I love that his name was Rodney because in my head he's about 80.
Or he's like on Only Fools and Horses. Like it's not in America that's like Rodney. It's not like an unattractive name, but here it's like Rodney.
Like, Rod.
Right, Rodney. So it was when she was explaining that Rodney was going to do my videography, I was like, oh, Rodney sounds lame. And then he walks in, he's like George Clooney. I'm like, for God's sake. So it was kind of inevitable. I think by about like 2 p.m. and a couple of tequila shots, we were snogging up and down Broadway.
Brilliant.
While also...
Work's gone out the window. Hopefully he's not filming that as well.
Well, the funny thing was is that we were actually very good at like multitasking.
I'm sure you were.
Like 1 minute we'd be snogging in Eric Church's, next minute we'd be like filming some people on the street, and we were very good at like wingmanning each other. Like he absolutely understood how to hold one group of people's attention while I would be interviewing someone else, and we really worked well together like that. So it was a really good dynamic straight off the bat. Also some snogging, which was great. But we then promised each other, like, we're not going to have sex till Sunday. We have to be professional. So we made a deal on that day that we were not going to have sex until Sunday. So then there was just this weird, it kind of like just went on and on and on. Like, yeah, but it also stopped being tension because we got to know each other better, where we were in our lives. Obviously, I'm still reeling from not getting married. It's my wedding week this week. And the last time I was there, it's for a very different reason. So we kind of got to know each other more. And then we kind of just evolved into being friends. So it kind of was like a little bit of an anticlimax.
No, but I actually prefer this because like if it had,
if it had gone wrong,
yeah,
I'd have worried about the content.
Yeah.
That's the main thing.
That's the main priority. And also now when we go back to Nashville,
Rodney's for the taking.
No, not like that. But Rodney can be, it's normal, it's fine. He can be videographing again.
He was super well connected. He was so generous. I'll get into more stories about this and about how Rodney really helped out girls in low places. So shout out Rodney, shout out Tracy. I was super blessed and I was super well looked after when I was out there. So it was great. So I have to take you girls back. Yeah. We now have a set of Nashville friends. I'm not joking. Like we have it. So for day one, we did that. We went to Eric Church's, but we kind of just did like a lot of going into the different bars and like doing man on the street stuff. We went to Eric Church's bar.
How was that? Like speaking to people who came to the festival or Nashville locals on the street, how was it?
I mean, they all receive British people really well.
Yeah.
Because they think it's funny and cute, and like you can really banter with them well. Everyone said that British people should be allowed to do country music, so that's word on the street. Went into Eric Church's bar, met with the bouncer there, who was telling us about when Morgan threw the chair off the roof, which was interesting knowledge, and how that's affected the bar afterwards. Basically, we named him Riz Daddy because he had a lot of Riz. He was just a cool guy. Anyway, later on, he texts Rodney saying, "Who was that hot blonde you're with? Can we go on a date?"
What is happening? Okay.
There was something going on in my universe. Yeah. Something was happening.
Brilliant. So that bouncer from Eric's.
Yeah. And loved it. Day 2, a little hungover. We did all the podcast interviews at Tracy's house. It was amazing. We interviewed Bobby Mclendon, who lives.
Okay, so I don't know this name. So
Bobby, he's an artist in his own right, but their act is they perform on the top slot at Morgan Wallen's bar. They perform on the top slot at Jason Aldean's.
Yeah.
He completely blows Nashville wide open every time he performs, and he's performing 7 times a week. And he is the guy to go and see. His manager and girlfriend, Megan, I just hit it off with. We were like twin flames. Okay. And when I say like she is the bomb, I just love her so much. And Bobby is amazing. Like the energy he brought to, I saw him at Lainey Wilson's, Morgan Wallen's, and Jason Aldean's, and the energy that he brings to those performances and the way he shuts down that bar is unparalleled. So we were just running around, and then like, Megan was very much Rodney and you, will you, won't you? Like we were just like going to
She's invested, she's in.
She was so invested. She was like, you've got to do this. And we were like, oh, are we? He is the guy to see on Broadway. We sat down with Bobby Mclendon. Bobby Mclendon, welcome to Girls in Low Places. You perform on Broadway a lot,
yes,
as well as writing your own stuff. What is the craziest thing that you have ever seen happen on Broadway?
We got done with the show, and for some reason this happens a lot here to me, where I'm just in the right place at the right time, but a girl had fallen out coming out of the club, and her heart actually stopped. So I ran across the street, and I started doing CPR, and then she hopped up and took off and went into a bar right before the cops and the paramedics got there, everybody else got there. I was literally doing CPR in front of her out on Broadway, on the main street. And she came back and hopped. She had to have been on something, but I brought her out of whatever that OD was, and she went right into another bar, and the cops had to go in and get her. And a few days later, she came back and thanked me because she didn't remember any of it. But we knew the people that were with her. So that's probably the craziest thing. I'm sure you weren't expecting that, but that's the craziest thing on Broadway I've experienced.
You are in a relationship with your manager, Megan, who's here today. Hello, Megan. And how do you guys navigate the craziness of performing those shows within your relationship?
It's part of our job. You always have to appear available, but never be available. Ooh. And if, I will dance in people's face. I will do a little move right in the front row with girls for the bachelorettes because that's part of my job. Then when I get done, we take a shot and we go home. It's difficult, entertaining 500 people for 4 hours. You have to find a way to make every one of them happy and want to stay the entire time. So it's exhausting. I'm tired when I'm done. I've been doing it for so long that I've kind of learned how to make everybody feel like I'm paying attention to them. I really do. I will start on the front and I'll layer my way through the crowd, and I'm making eye contact with as many people until I can't see anymore. Then I try to look over the people that I can see, so the people behind them in the dark are like, oh my gosh, he's paying attention to me. Like I'll see a hand throw up, so I throw a hand up, and then I'll do something like that, and they'll do it back, and they're like, oh my God, he's paying attention to me, and I don't actually know that they're doing it back. And me and my band, you'll see it. I like to hire rock and rollers because rock and roll is just fun to watch, and people hear with their eyes. So nobody ever goes to a concert and say, that's the best show I've ever heard. They say, that's the best show I've ever seen in my life. And that's the mentality. You play well to where they can be like, oh my God, this band sucks. But you find a way to, my band engages, everybody engages with everybody, because that's why they're going to leave and say, oh, that's the best show. You're the best band on Broadway because of what they saw, not because, so I guarantee you there's other bands, singers that sound better than me. There's other bands that just sound incredible, but they stand there and sound incredible. I'm not Chris Stapleton, but I will rock your fucking face off. I mean, Chris Stapleton can stand there and sing like an angel. Yeah. I can't. I know my truth. I know my strengths, my weaknesses, and I will rock your fucking face off. And you're going to find out.
I can't wait to have my face fucking rocked off.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I can't.
I'll introduce you to him.
What's your most Nashville story?
Favorite Nashville experience is I was at the Sunday night Taylor Swift Eras tour when it poured down rain the entire time. She started at 9 o'clock and went to 1:30 in the morning, and it was pouring down rain the entire time. So that pedestrian bridge from the stadium over, I started singing Friends in Low Places because I was hammered. I said, blame it all on my roots, and then people could, and then the whole crowd, Oasis, like it went absolutely crazy. And it was like one of those shows where you black out, you don't remember any of it because it was so absolutely incredible, and the rain is just pounding us. And I wore $400 leather Freebird shoes, and I don't care that they were ruined. Travis Kelce gave her a friendship bracelet. I want to give her my rained on Freebirds. One day I'll get them to her.
One day. Yes. So then after we'd done those podcast records, we went to go and see Shaboozey. Have you listened to the album? No. Get home and listen to that album. It is absolutely incredible. I think he's actually going to be bigger than Morgan Wallen. Honestly, hands down. I think he's going to appeal to more people. I think he's going to have a really broad audience. I think he is so talented, so humble. I knew we had to be there. So I was like, Rodney, we have to get there early because he was on a really small stage in the middle of Broadway. And I was like, how have they put Shaboozey on a really small stage in the middle of Broadway? The whole of Broadway was completely filled and at a standstill. The cars were stopping. All the shops, like the Apple Store, everything had their doors open because it was so filled. Shaboozey got on stage, burst into tears and was like, I cannot believe this is happening. He did a bar song 3 times in a row in succession.
Oh my God, amazing. I've got chills.
It wasn't an encore. Yeah. He was just like, we're just going to do it again. And the whole of Nashville was like, everyone was on the rooftops. Everyone was going mad. Everyone was throwing water. It was one of the most emotional. I've got chills. Yeah. I was so emotional for such an upbeat, everybody, it was so emotional. I was like kind of crying. That was the moment where I was like, how did I get here? Yeah. Like, this is unbelievable. And I need to go and sit down, have a little drink after that. But Shaboozey was an amazing part of that experience. And I think his album is incredible. Annabelle, Highways, Let It Burn, My Fault, Drink Don't Need No Mix. Like, that album is probably, I'd say, the best country album that has been released in years. So that was amazing. Tucker Wetmore also did that. He also shut down the whole of Broadway. And I have a story about Tucker.
So the only thing that I know, and I think this is the right person for this, is were you wearing his T-shirt or was that somebody else?
No. Okay. That was Bailey Zimmerman. Okay. Back onto Bailey.
So, let's come back.
So there's a few reasons why I left Nashville wearing Bailey Zimmerman's T-shirt.
Back to Tucker. Let's go in order.
Let's go back to Tucker. So Rodney, videographer, got us these amazing box tickets to the Nissan Stadium. We didn't go any other night. We just went one night and went to the Nissan Stadium. By this time, we were on like day 4. I mean, we'd been really heavily drinking for a really long time. Yeah. And essentially, the only way to get through it was to keep drinking. You know, it's like that tip. I'd be like, keep drinking.
Hair of the dog 4 days straight.
Yeah, it was rough. Like, I'm too old for that now. Yeah. So by the time we got to this box where I was meant to be behaving, I was a little sauced. I was a little on my way. And basically, we in these boxes at the Nissan, like, you're in glass. There's like glass sheets between the boxes.
Okay.
And I was sat really close to the glass sheet. So I was watching Megan Maroney, waiting for Bailey Zimmerman. And there's a glass sheet. And I just looked to the guy that I'm talking to on my left, another musician who was also super hot.
They all are, apparently.
I was talking to Ryan on my left. And I was like, and I just saw out the corner of my eye, Tucker Wetmore had sat like here on the other side of the glass. Mm-hmm. And I mean, he is the best. Mm-hmm. I love him loads. His song, I think he's going to be like the next Morgan Wallen, or he's on Morgan Wallen's coattails for sure.
Yeah.
And he's so close to me that I was like, my initial reaction, and I'm not normally too fangirly. Well, who am I kidding?
No, but you don't get like nervous or like you, out of me and you're the one that will go up and say hi. And I'll be like,
Yes.
oh, I can't do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I won't freeze.
No.
But I kind of, just because the glass was there
Yeah.
and I couldn't do the British accent thing because he couldn't hear me, I was like this through the glass, right?
Oh, God.
And then he did it back and he was like this through the glass.
Brilliant.
And then
Oh, no, what?
I went like...
No, I knew that was what it was going to be.
I somewhat flashed him. Now, I didn't flash him completely. I more just insinuated the flash.
Okay.
I only got the idea because of the glass panel, which if it was one of my friends, I'd be like, wait, like, I think it's quite a British thing.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Ryan, who's here, the normal Nashville musician, was like, no. But Tucker Wetmore, he got it and he mooned me back.
Oh
he
my
mooned
God.
me.
Amazing.
Tucker Wetmore mooned me.
Claim to fame. Brilliant. Was that it? Was that that's the exchange done?
That was the exchange done, sadly, for now.
For now.
I
just like the fact that you went sort of like back other ways to your friends and like, oh, I'm just going to carry on and watch Bailey Zimmerman now. And I'm just
No, well, Rodney did get in a bit of trouble for it the next day. Apparently it was spoken about.
What? Because he'd been given box tickets?
Yeah, apparently he got text saying someone flashed Tucker Wetmore. And Rodney was like, no, it was insinuated, but it wasn't done. I actually think that it was Tucker Wetmore who flashed me more than I flashed him. So
also, it seems
I'm playing hard to get technically.
Also, it seems like Tucker not only didn't care but was on board. So whoever was saying there was an issue, that's not an issue, guys.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that's the official.
Sorry, Rodney. We'll never do it again. Please get us box tickets again.
Sorry, Rodney.
Thank you, Rodney. Love you, Rodney. So that was amazing. And the Nissan is an experience, like...
Yeah, I bet.
Because it's like open air, so it's different.
Yeah.
It's kind of more like Wembley vibes.
Yeah, when I went, I didn't go in, so...
Yeah. I think it's worth, if you do go to CMA Fest, maybe get a ticket for one of the nights, but I don't think you need it all the nights. One of the most interesting interviews that I did was with Big Plan Holdings. They are a publishing house.
Okay.
So they represent like 10 singer-songwriters.
Yep.
And Tara was such a force to be reckoned with. Not only did they have this publishing house, they also had just opened John Bon Jovi bar on Broadway that week. Mm-hmm. So she is a complete owner. And it was just so interesting. You'll see the interview, but how it all functions in Nashville and what business is like in Nashville is so different than anywhere else. And yeah, I think that's going to be a really interesting interview that I did.
Where did you interview them?
At the publishing house.
Oh, you went there?
We went there.
That's cool.
And then after that, we went to Average Joe's label, which was actually a partnership with Rodney's film company that he used to work for. So he got me the interview with Bryan Martin. Bryan Martin is the most incredible soul you will ever encounter. He opens for Morgan Wallen at the moment. He's about to explode. You can just tell. He's just come out of rehab for the second time, literally like the week before when I was interviewing him. So he was so raw, so honest. He made me cry. He saw through to my soul. He offered to write a song with me. That's a really interesting interview. This interview made me cry, laugh, and then cry again. We Ride with Bryan Martin.
We did a couple interviews, and then we played the downtown riverfront, which was awesome.
Oh yeah.
That was awesome to get to share that stage with Warren and all of them, and to see the fans come out and just to see the way that it's grown in a year. It's been a ride. Like I said, the song's called We Ride, but it's been a ride. It's been something that I'm very blessed. A lot of people think that when they see people on stage, they think they got it figured out. I think that that's one thing. Like, there's a new song coming out called Wishbone. It's like I want people to know that it's okay not to have it figured out. It's okay to be like, I don't know what's next. I don't even know how I got here. So, don't even know how I got in this interview. Until like 5 seconds ago. So
we kidnapped you.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, y'all kidnapped me. And then you said girls in low places. I was like, how low are we going? Yeah, the door's locked. I can't get back out.
You're going to be opening up for Morgan Wallen this year?
Yes, ma'am. We got 10 dates, and it's just, it's been amazing. We just played the Carolina Country Music Fest, and that was awesome, too. Seeing so many people show up over there at midday. And I said, I ain't gonna lie to you, I don't know who Bryan Martin is, but I wouldn't stand in the hot sun for him. But I appreciated everybody. I walked out and got to sign some autographs and talk to people, and just, I think that people, are invested in my story, but what they don't know is I'm like just as invested in hearing theirs. And every time that I get to hear theirs and hear how my songs and my relatability is helping them through times. Like, that's where I'm learning the most about me. It's like looking in the mirror, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like the more self-reflecting I've done over the last year has really helped me keep my roots deep, you know?
Yeah. So the song that's blowing up is called We Ride.
We ride.
What do you think makes a great songwriter?
Honesty. Yeah, I think it's always been honesty. I think transparency in many ways is not always best, you know, for people around you. You know, I don't sugarcoat things, but when I write songs, I've learned that some reason you put a pretty melody behind a song, you can say the truth and people sing along to it, and it takes them, you know, years, and sometimes they never figure it out, but you know, every song is just a way of saying what you mean, but with a melody, and hoping that people will one day listen to the lyrics and go, hey man, that's everything I ever wanted him to say. You know, it's you know, and especially the people around you, the closest ones. Like, I want somebody to hear this song, but I don't want to tell them that this is about them. You know. Yeah. And then, but also because you don't ever want to make people feel like, you know, it's you know, you need help. You know, but at the same time, like, I've learned now that it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to say, hey, you know what, I need to go to rehab. I'm getting bad off. Hey, I need to go. I need to go to my room and just have a minute, just so I can breathe, like, you know. And I think songwriting has been one of those deals where, you know, the other day we was riding on the bus, and we was talking about sad songs, how much I used to dive off into these sad songs. And I get so deep into it to where I would take myself to a spot where I really probably wasn't at mentally, but I thought that's where I had to be to write songs. And I think a lot of songwriters suffer from that.
So you sort of like get yourself into a dark place because you think that's where you're going to find your inspiration.
Yeah, that's where because you get used to it, you know. But at the same time, it's like I've learned now, like, projection is everything. Like, you know, if you're to where I'm at, you know, Self-Inflicted Scars, that album, I got a little bit too drunk one night, and I was like, you know what? I said, I promised I was coming home tonight. And I was like, and I don't want to, you know, let nobody down. So I was like, I should have stayed, and I didn't. Got all the way out. I went the back way all the way home, but I got about 2 miles from my house and totaled out my car and wound up in a real bad wreck. But you know, it was like one of those things where I had her get me up out of that bed. I still had some broken ribs, and I said, "Help me get my guitar." So I got to write this song, and I wrote "Self-Inflicted Scars," and it was literally written 2 days after the wreck, because it was like I keep putting myself through that because of what I think others' expectations are for me, you know. So I think my thing is now is like trying to find your own self-worth, trying to find what makes you happy, you know, and realizing that you can't take everybody else's pain away from them no matter how much you want to. Like, you can't do it, you know. Empathy is a hell of a drug.
You're gonna make me cry.
Yeah. So I've just learned that, like, having empathy and feeling everything around you is a blessing and a curse, but at the same time, it's always a blessing, because I've learned that, like, even today, like, just to be able to come in here and sit down and talk to y'all is just a blessing. To be able to be on a platform that I would have never dreamed of, swinging a hammer in West Texas. So, you know.
What's the most powerful song lyric that you like at the moment?
Cody Jinks has a song. It's called "Wounded Mind." And, you know, it talks about his story. And I've listened to people, like, even with Morgan Wallen and people like that, like, where I'll listen to a song that people find as catchy, and I'll find what they're really trying to say in it. Mm-hmm. You know, like, Living Dreams has been one of my favorites from him, you know, just talking about, like, I've literally have been living the dream last year. I found out real fast, you know. But I remember listening to that song and going, man, this man's, he's the life of the party. But he's going through it in this song. He's going through it in this song. He's going through, you know. So I've always dug into the lyrics and just always kind of, you know, just wanted to give a tip of the hat to these people and just let them know that I hear you. And one of those guys is Cody Jinks. I listen to him, and he's got a song called "Wounded Mind," and it's just talking about, you know, I tell them all I really ain't that special. You know, I cry and yell and tell them leave me the hell alone. It says, I hate it that I have to try to be cool all the time. It says I'm just a guy with a wounded mind. You know, but it's such a catchy song, man. Such a good song. Everybody vibes to it at the shows. But it's like at the same time when I met him and I wrote 3 songs for his new album with him, we got to have that kind of talk. And I think that's the biggest deal is to meet somebody, understand them, not only be a fan, but be someone who's living the same lyrics and didn't know how they was going to be able to say the same thing. So it's like, it's just inspiration to see somebody. It's like I'm not the first to do it. It's just, you know, seldom hear it or seldom pay attention to those lyrics, you know.
What's a piece of advice you would give to your 18-year-old self?
Oh, shoot. That ain't strong enough. Man, that's a good one. My 18-year-old self, I would say, you don't know it all, and it's okay. Don't be so hard on yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True that. Can you do an English accent?
Let's see. I'm gonna mess this all the way up. Would you like some English tea?
That was good. You were Cockney.
What?
So that's like from like East London, kind of like, you right, mate? Yeah.
Oh, so kind of like
You would be, yeah.
Yeah,
I could see you like in EastEnders.
maybe in a future life. I'm gonna learn how to blend. Man on the run. In the East Indies. If you're looking for me.
What is the craziest thing you've ever seen on Broadway?
Oh, Lord. But I've seen, you know, a man trying to sell me some drywall powder that has cocaine next to a cop. Like, and the cop just going, you don't want it. And I'm like, man, I'm sitting there, I'm like, wow, that's cool. You know, that's like, this dude just standing there, he's got the coolest sign in the world. You read some of these, they put a lot of thought into that. You got to admire a man's work. When you see a sign that catches your attention, where it's like saying, like, you know, $5, you know, I'll kill your boss, you know, or, you know, it's like, it's dark, it's demented, but I think we all are a little bit, and they're just sitting there, they're over just thinking, I got this figured out, you know, he's got a bad ex, you know, I can see it in his eye, that's the way he's drinking, look at him, this man been through it, I'm going to write this sign out in 5 minutes, I'm going to hold it up when he walks by, it's going to be, for $1, I'll take care of that narcissistic ex you got. You know, or something. You know, I just think that they got it figured out more than they think, than we think. Especially with the cops. The cops don't mess with them either.
What is the best thing about this town?
The songwriters and just the people in general. Like, I think we all come here with a dream. I think we all come here with the same chances as everybody else. Some people, you know, they talk about, I'm stuck in that Broadway circuit. You know, I'm stuck in this, I'm stuck in that. I think it's all about setting your own precedent. You know, look at it like you could spend 15 years swinging a hammer in West Texas till you can finally make the drive up here and afford to have a car that'll make it here. You know, to do it, you don't ever think you're stuck. Like, you're only stuck if you let yourself think you're stuck. Like, I truly believe that we tie ourselves down to, like, I could never see myself. I'm up there and I'm singing and I'm in the lights and I'm letting the lights shine on me. I'm rolling my sleeves up and I'm showing my scars and I'm showing people that I'm no different than the guy that's standing in the front of the stage or the guy that's in the back. That's just, you know, or the ones up at the CCMF at the hotel next to the venue, like trying to just see the show. Like, I'm no different than anybody except for I just keep getting back up. And, like, I feel like if you get up enough times, dust yourself off, and, you know, come to this town or any town or wherever you want to go to, and you set your mind to something, it's never going to happen until you actually get out of your own way and do it. And it's like, that's what happened with me. It was like, this was my last hoorah.
What is your favourite country music song to have sex to?
Oh, Lord. Let me see. I think the last time I had the radio playing, it was probably back when Josh Turner was doing his thing, man. With that, baby, lock them doors and turn the lights down low. Come on now. I mean, that was like, you know, everybody else to beat around the bush. Josh went straight to the bedroom door. Son. He was like, I'm going straight there. I'm going to take you there. Everybody else was like, let her dress, sleep on the floor. I like that song too. I like every one of them. But Josh went and said, no, I'm going to lock that door, baby. It's time.
Would you write with someone from England
Oh yeah, right now.
right now?
Yeah, you write songs?
I have been known to write a song.
Me too. I actually have a song saying that. So let's write a song.
What would the song be about if we wrote it right now?
Well,
How do you feel?
right now, if I was to
Oh,
write a song,
kidnapped.
kidnap. Yeah. If we were to write a song right now, first thing I'd do is I'd pick you apart like you picked me apart in this interview.
Go on then.
I'd find out more about what's going on inside of you.
I don't think you want to know what's going on. It's up here. I called my wedding off like a couple of months ago, and it was meant to be the wedding date like next week.
Really?
So yeah.
Oh yeah, we got a great song.
Yeah.
We got. I'll put best thing you ever did. We'll write it. Best thing you ever done. Called it off. To be continued.
To be continued.
We will be singing this song live here in about 35 minutes.
No, genuinely.
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 We're gonna write a song.
Oh my God, I'm dead.
It's gonna be a hit, and y'all are gonna love it. And if we don't record it, Morgan will, because we've all been through it.
Deceased.
Any country artist out there has been through a breakup, but we're pitching it to Morgan first because he make us the biggest BMI check.
What is the best thing about working with Morgan Wallen?
Oh man, just being able to work with Morgan Wallen, you know that's pretty big in itself. I think just not getting the opportunity and for him to reach out and to even know that I exist, you know, especially where I came from, you know, is a blessing in itself. That's one reason why I wanted to speak to his tour manager and just kind of like shake that man's hand and just let him know that I'm whatever I need to do, like I'm there. Like I'll roll road cases, you know. If you got a loose screw on that thing that lifts you up with the piano, Morgan, I'll come tighten that thing up and make sure. Ain't nothing gonna happen to Morgan, man. Thank you for having me, dude.
What's next for you? What can we look forward to?
This song we're finna write, and probably just seeing me figuring out life sober, and seeing how that looks. And
Looks good.
well, thank you. I appreciate that. And also, just as I progress, you know, how it's progressing, and you'll hear it in the songs, and I just hope that anybody that's got the courage to take this journey with me, you can do it, because if I can do it, you can do it. Y'all check them lyrics out. I love y'all.
Fuck.
Thank you.
I could talk to you all day.
Tyler Rich went to his house.
Yeah, now let's break this down. Because I think I saw the messages. There was messages back and forth. Was it between you and him, or like between like Rodney and him, of like you getting the interview? I don't know. And I was like, I love Tyler Rich. So
Oh, he is amazing. So
Yeah.
his house is beautiful. Got there, his dog.
well, first of all, why have you gone to his house?
So my friend Tracy is friends with him. She's
course.
like, yeah, she was like, I can set this up. And I was like, amazing. We love Tyler Rich.
Yeah.
And we got to his house. It's beautiful, like super modern Nashville house. Like his dog is gorgeous. And we go upstairs to his like studio and we're just chatting away. And he's telling me all his stories about Garth Brooks and all his influences and all the different things that he's like been through to get to where he was. The one thing I'd say about from doing a bit of work in Nashville, it's so different to when I've done work for other jobs in places like New York or LA.
Yeah.
In Nashville, everybody wants you to win. Everybody wants you to do well. Everybody wants you to be a part of this. And everyone's door was open and ready to discuss and chat. Especially, I would say what helped was because I'm British. They want to let the UK in.
Yeah.
They want to create that bond between us. And I think that is something that we sometimes forget a little bit. They couldn't have done more for me.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate it. I appreciate everyone's time. And like our listeners are going to appreciate it because I really felt like I got a different kind of interview with these guys than what we normally get from the UK presenters.
Yep.
Like I got to be a little bit more cheeky, get to know them a little bit more on a more personal level. I mean, Tyler Rich had a massive piece of artwork in his living room that was from the Rosewood Hotel You know the little cards. You know the Rosewood Hotel is like kind of like they give you a pack of cards when they serve you cocktails, and he'd got them and he'd printed them all out and had this massive, great big thing. It's the biggest piece of art in his whole living room was from a London hotel that he'd been to. That he was just really happy about the trip that he'd been on with his wife. Like it's just things like that. It's just I think we find Nashville as special as they find London,
right?
And I think that is something we often forget.
Yeah,
that's why more of us Londoners need to get over to Nashville because it's something to be cherished. He's the difference between a good and an incredible country star. We went to Tyler Rich's house and talked all things country music. Tyler Rich, welcome to Girls in Low Places. What makes a great songwriter?
It's great. It's a good question. A great songwriter, in my opinion, is just, I don't know, it might be cliche, but just like the person that writes from the truest part of themselves. And it doesn't even necessarily mean their full life stories and they're being super vulnerable, but they're just being authentic in the way that they're telling a story, whether it's their story or not, or authentic in the way that they're playing it and singing it. It's hard for me because I've never been just a songwriter. I've always been an artist at the same time. So when I think of, what makes a great songwriter, I'm thinking that for me is like that true, honest, organic, real version of yourself. And being able to sit there, which is something I learned in this town, is sitting with some of the best songwriters on the planet and being vulnerable in your moments of talking to build an idea, and just being able to embrace other people's voice and other people's ideas, because songwriters inherently are very self-centered, right? It's like, oh, this is my thing, and I want it to sound this way when you're in a room, especially with strangers. And it's something that, at least for me, was kind of hard to get past for a second, because in your mind, always your idea is the best, right? Your melody's for sure always the best. And I would confidently say it's rarely the best, right? But the best does come out of when maybe it's half your melody, half mine. And then now the third person also loves it, but they didn't like it the whole time. And I like trio. Yeah. Especially nowadays, because there's this new custom that there needs to be a track guy in the room that is building the demo production as you're going. But for the most part, a track guy, track girl is also a songwriter. So they're building a song that sonically sounds how it could sound released one day while you're making it, but then they're also chiming in with like great input and great ideas. When you have two, I would say almost never is one of the two a track person making a production at the same time. And so then you're just getting an acoustic work tape, which people don't really listen to in town anymore. Whereas in back in the day, that's the only way anybody did anything. And so if you don't have a song that you're turning in, especially in Nashville, that sounds almost like a record, people, even if the song's great, like it just doesn't hit the same. They might miss out on what could be an incredible song because they're just hearing an iPhone recording of you guys just jamming in a room. And I do like writing with two people total. It's more of an intimate experience. It's just something, it's just not as normal anymore. And so I think maybe I'm just not as used to it anymore. 3's good. 4 can be a lot. I think 4 is great when the track person in the room is mostly just doing the music, and then the 3 of you are just like powwowing really hard. Gosh, biggest misconception about me is that I only write and sing love songs. And so I was with my label for a long time. And I understand the business of it all. I get it. But basically they were releasing, it came out to 2.5 songs a year total. But they would put out like 2.5 songs a year that were chasing country radio, which makes perfect sense. Mm-hmm. But it's just it falls into like a bunch of country love songs. It kind of all sound the same. And I've released other stuff than that, but my biggest songs are that, or at least there's some in the world of some version of love, or, loving somebody for who they are and whatnot. But our show is so in your face, high energy, aggressive. It's just fun. And so like my biggest thing is girls always come to the shows, and they always force guys to come to the shows, dates, brothers, friends, whatever. And our biggest thing is like, let's get the guys to come back. Right. And so I feel like, a big misconception is that guys are going to have a bad time at our show.
Right. What's the best and worst thing about this town?
Let's go. The best part about this town to me is the embracing family that is Nashville. Everybody I met was just, who hadn't even heard me sing, hadn't nothing, right? I was just like walking around meeting people at bars. I came alone. Everybody I met was just like instant friend, like instant family. It felt like the city is such a motivational, big, like competitive, friendly family. Everybody, for the most part, has each other's backs and wants to see each other do well, because there is space for everybody, right? Especially if you kind of have your own thing going and you're in your own lane. It's just, but at the same time, I think my least favorite thing is the politicalness of the city. Everything is very controlled by the chess players at hand, from the awards to everything. I mean, I have friends that are much, much bigger artists than I am, and we go down these venting rabbit holes all the time. And Nashville is small. It's a really big little city, and everybody really does know each other. And so that first day that I came to town and I played a cover set, like 2 hours midtown, just to make some money to pay for like my flight, basically. And I met this girl after the set, and she was just like, I loved what you did. That song was great. Like, music was great, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, you know, I'm really connected in town. I've been here for a long time. Are you alone? I was like, yeah. So you should come out with me, my friend. Let's just go to downtown. I'd never been to Broadway. I'm going to take you downtown. You got to see it. And this was early in the day. It was like 1 o'clock. She goes, you know, if you keep hanging, I could probably hit up some friends. Who do you want to meet? And we're downtown now. And we're at this bar. It's called Riley's. And it's right on the corner. We're up on the rooftop. And she's like, who do you want to meet? Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I really want to meet John Party. And this is 2015. So like Party only had like 1 or 2 songs out at the time. And she's like, oh, I don't know. Why do you want to meet John Party? I don't know John Party. And he was so new. And I was like, well, John grew up like 45 minutes from me. Like, my uncle was his football coach. Like, and we grew up in like such a small little area. I was like, I just feel like him and I would have a lot to talk about. It'd be cool to meet him. And she goes, oh no, I mean, I know Dirks, I know Brantley, I know all these people, and I don't know Party. And I was like, oh, that's cool. I mean, I love those guys too. So, I mean, if they want to hang, you know. But so we walk across the street, and we went and got food. Like an hour had passed, and we're going into Tootsie's, and I don't have my ID, so I can't get in. And I was like, oh my God. Oh, I think it's got to be at Riley's. I'm going to run across the street. I go up to the rooftop. The rooftop is closed. And I go up to the bartender, and I'm like, hey, you got my ID? And she's like, yeah. She runs over and grabs it. There's one guy sitting at the bar to see his girlfriend, who was the bartender closing the bar. And it's John Party. And so I went up and I was like, John, what's up, man? I was like, I'm Tyler. I'm from Yuba City. Yuba City, what are you doing? Hey, what's going on? And so we just started talking for like 15 minutes. And he's like, I like you. Let's go hang. And so he took me to dinner with his best friends. And we hung out for like 5 days straight. And like that, now that I live here and I know just how small this place is and how everybody's connected, I think is my biggest Nashville story of just a weird, serendipitous, cool moment. And like, he's like a really good friend, you know, and it's just.
You manifested that.
Yeah. And it happened like in an hour.
What do you find is the biggest difference between the British crowd and the American crowd as an audience?
They listen. I feel like, and I don't even mean this in a bad way, I feel like American fans, they come waiting for you to make them party more, right? They come wanting to be entertained. Right. Whereas I feel like British fans, which is the same to me with Canadian fans, is they come like dying for like the songs and the stories and for like the bantering in between songs. And they want to hear and they want to know you. Whereas and I mean like playing for them for the first time, right? They don't really even know you yet. Whereas in local shows, they come and then once you make them have a great time, then they'll be like, cool, I can't wait to figure out who this artist is.
Right.
You know?
Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, it's when I did in 2019, London, Leeds, and York, it was acoustic. And so already I was like, oh no. I was like, God, okay, cool. So playing acoustic to people that don't know who you are, there was fans in London and stuff that came out and sang and knew the songs, which was really great. But like for the most part, you know, like I gotta just be up here with the guitar and I'm thinking people are gonna be partying and then in that point you gotta throw in a bunch of covers, which I don't ever do. But it was not like that at all.
went line dancing.
Okay, now let's break this down, because my grandma, who is in her late 80s, goes line dancing.
Sorry.
So when big up Beryl. But like, when I saw that you'd gone line dancing, I was like, have you lost your mind? Is it a thing?
Yes, I had lost my mind. I was so severely drunk at this point. I'd already been out the Rodney's sunroof singing Chapel Roan down Broadway. I'd already been interviewing people up and down Broadway, and just like some of those interviews I can't bear to watch, because like watching yourself on camera is one thing, watching yourself drunk on camera even worse.
Yeah.
So we were already pretty lit, and I think we were just done with Broadway. We'd been there for like 2 days straight, and Rodney was like, do you want to get out of here and let's go to East Nashville, let's go to somewhere legit.
Yeah.
So we went to East Nashville, which is where Rodney lives, and we went to his house, and 2 of his housemates were there who are in the band For King and Country. Have you heard of those guys? So For King and Country, these guys were musicians in the band, so they've just been to New Zealand. They were there saying, I just want to sit at home and watch The Hobbit, in bowl me and Rodney, because they were obviously trying to like reminisce their trip. Because The Hobbit.
And they've
just been to New Zealand, so they were obviously like trying to reminisce it. In Bolby and Rodney, like absolutely sauce, being like, you're coming out with us. And they were like, oh, I'll only go out if we go line dancing. So I then go with...
Why?
Well, this is it. I then go with this, and these guys were like straight dudes.
Yeah.
Very fashionable, very hip, very cool, kind of like hipstery. And they were only if we go line dancing. So we all got our glad rags on, and I was like, well, I guess I'm going line dancing in East Nashville. And it is like this massive club when we get there.
Club?
Yeah, it's a club. It's not like we were on Broadway and everyone was, doing it to Dolly. It was like to Usher. It was like to Megan Thee Stallion. It was like to all the big rap names. And they all learn the dances on YouTube before they go. So like, I was with the dudes, like normal 30-year-old dudes, cool dudes. And I was like, there's no way they're going to go and join in with this lot. They go and join in, and they know every step.
Oh my
and I was like,
goodness.
and it's like, to the left, to the left, to the left. I was just standing there by the pool table like, I am either really, really drunk or this is insane.
That is very different to Beryl's line dancing class. There is no Usher there. I went once. There's no Usher there.
I would love to see Beryl in a Nashville dive bar.
She would break it down.
But it was like, I'd say it was like 200 to 300 people doing this on the dance floor.
That's amazing.
It's something I think everyone has to see with their own eyes once.
Is this just a Nashville thing? Or like, is this like, this is really ignorant, but in America, are there like line dancing clubs to like hip hop?
I think we're just going to have to find that out. I'm going to have to call Rodney and be like, Rodney, does this happen everywhere? Because I could not believe it.
They knew all the steps. That's hilarious.
All the steps. And it definitely was an ick, by the way.
Okay. I don't know. I think I'd be loving it.
Impressive, but it was an ick.
Okay. So wait, the Hobbit guys knew all the steps?
Yeah, the Hobbit guys knew all the steps.
Oh my God.
Not the Hobbit guys. Really sorry, Chris.
Sorry, it's my point of reference. Sorry, Chris, don't know your first name.
But yeah, they... Yeah, it was something to really be seen.
I think that's probably the most favourite thing you've told me.
It's the strangest visual. Can't even
Get that footage up.
I will.
Did you try and join in, or did you just watch?
I absolutely did not try and join in. Like, I can't dance on the best day, let alone a rehearsed, choreographed. So I was just standing at the side being like...
So it wasn't the sort of thing that you can join in, you had to know what you were doing?
I mean, you could kind of just like turn at the right times and stuff like that, but you'd look like an idiot.
Right, okay.
I wouldn't recommend. You'd be trampled. And people take it so seriously. My God.
What day are we on for that? Day 3? Day 4?
To be honest, I'd lost track of all days by that point. I mean, it was just a constant, like every morning I'd wake up going, like it was one of those, like, what are we doing? Where are we going? We've got to be, and we'd have to be down there like 9 a.m. every day. And that's quite intense for Rodney and I as our like dynamic. Like we were up at 9, out till 3.
So the stages were on from 9?
Yeah. Sophia Scott, who we also interviewed, she was on at 9 a.m. on the first day singing the national anthem. And
I didn't realise it was from 9.
Yeah, and we interviewed her at the Fan Fest, which is like a cool, like kind of reminds me of like the clothes show or the wedding show, but it's like country music. Yeah. So and within that, there was a stall where you could buy clothes of artists that you care about, but it would be their clothes from their wardrobe that they've donated. And I think some of the proceeds then went to charity. So when I saw this, I was like, there's no way that this is, I mean, I was looking at the Kelsey Ballerini stuff and I was like, I'd love to buy something of hers, but like absolutely couldn't fit into it. Turned around, looked at Jelly Rolls, thought, that's more me. But I ended up settling with Bailey Zimmerman because I love Bailey so much. And the girls were saying, they were like, we've got a really smelly pair of his sweatpants at the store that we couldn't even resell because they're so sodden. I was like, what has Bailey been doing?
Also, I love that like they've donated but not laundered. He's clothes.
I think maybe other people did, but maybe Bailey was just like, here you go, here's my laundry, don't need this anymore.
That's why I like him.
And we love you for it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was really cool. And the fact that I've come home with like some of Bailey Zimmerman's clothes is something to say.
Yeah, it's a less juicy story than I wanted, but it's okay. You've got
baby steps. Okay, we're baby steps towards. And the day when I do get to be with Bailey Zimmerman, I'll be like, is this your t-shirt, mate?
Yeah. He'll be like, yeah, I don't know.
We'll be like, it all smells better than when I had it. She's not about to waste any of her lipstick on you. Here is Sophia Scott. I saw you outside in the outdoor stage of the O2. And I don't know if you remember, but you were saying about calling off your engagement. And then my friend and I were like, I just called off mine last week.
I feel like you look so familiar. Like you definitely recognize you. You called off yours too?
Yeah, like a week before I saw you.
Dude.
It's brutal. The guilt.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, there's a lot of
mixed
emotions.
What is our podcast is called Girls in Low Places, which started because I was in a low place. What is your song that you would say, listen to this to get you out of a low place?
Ooh. You don't go with it's called What I'm Wearing Tonight. That's like my hype jam when I need to like feel hot and like fuck it. Oh, am I allowed to curse? Sorry.
You are allowed to curse.
Cool.
I love your song Mullet Over.
Oh, thank you.
Do you still like mullets?
I actually do really like mullets. Like I feel like people always come at me and are like, you don't like mullets. And I'm like, no, it's just I'm a songwriter and it was like a play on words. So it was easy to do. But I actually do like mullets. You heard it here first.
Mullet boys, come find her. So what's the hardest thing about being a woman in the music industry?
Oof. I think it's something that's difficult is you feel kind of pinned against each other often. And I think something that we're all kind of having to relearn is to build each other up and support each other. I think it's a very male-dominated industry. So it feels like there's not room at the table for every female, but I think that I think the atmosphere is changing a bit and hopefully continues to change. And I think there's a lot of lanes opening up and more females there's so many amazing up-and-coming female artists that I feel like aren't being paid attention to enough. So I would say, if you're a listener, support your female artists.
You've got your single coming out, Wildflowers.
Yes, comes out tomorrow.
Oh my God. So you debuted it in London. What is your favorite flower?
Ooh. I like peonies a lot. I just bought a bouquet of peonies yesterday and they make me very happy. Or I also like sunflowers.
Your song Lipstick on You. Yeah. I love that song. What shade of lipstick are you wearing today?
Oh, what am I wearing? I think it's like I'm like trying to look at it. It's ridiculous. I think it's it was like a burgundy. It's all gone now. Lipstick on everyone else.
Lipstick on everyone else today. That's a new song. Yeah. If you had to write a song about how you feel today, what would it be called?
Well, I started off nervous and tired because I woke up at 4 a.m. to sing the national anthem. But it was, I'm so happy it's over. Honestly, I just had to start really low because the high note is so high. And if you start too high, you're kind of fucked. Right. So, but it ended up working out okay. I warmed up. I had a lot of tea. So weekend, I'm excited to go see some new artists and all that. Yeah.
Who's your artist to watch?
Ooh. I'm going to say my girl, Alana Springsteen. Yeah, I love her.
That song, You Don't Deserve a Country Song.
Fire.
So good.
Yeah, she brought me on tour with her last year, and I love her. She's through and through, great girl.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Final question, can you do a British accent?
Hello.
That was good.
Was it? I don't know what to say.
Give me more. I like your mullet.
I like your mullet.
So much. Like, good luck for everything this weekend, and like, so much. And I love your dress.
Thank you. I love your face.
I feel like I look like a porno.
No, you're.
I was like taking dress today. I was like, how do I look like a porno?
It's giving. Yes.
He's been a drinking buddy of mine for over 10 years, but now he's been tamed by Tennessee. Callum Kerr.
Okay, Girls in Low Places is here with Callum Kerr.
Fellow girl in a low place. How are you?
Me and Callum, well, we go way back.
Way back. Yeah, I used to work in a wine bar in London, just starting out on this whole journey. And you were an avid wine drinker, and then
I was.
And you lived on the street, right?
Yeah, literally above the wine bar.
Yeah.
And then we just like used to get drunk.
Yeah, you came in for the first time on like Halloween, you and Max, and you were both dressed as vampires. Drank like 4 bottles of wine between the two of you, and I was like, yeah, these guys are friends. And then you went from customer to like buddy real fast, and then we just like...
We used to have Sundays, the Fun Day Sundays.
Sunday Fun Day over at old Clapham...
Northcote Records,
yeah, and watch live music, and they'd sometimes sing country songs, and who'd have thought we'd be here like...
Who'd have thought?
8 years later.
I know. But also the last time that I saw Callum, so when he came for the Bachelorette, Callum was here, and it was this very bar was the last time I saw you.
That's right, yeah. And that was the last time I saw myself that night, because I woke up in the morning and I was like, oh my words. And I just had a kid. And so I was changing diapers and stuff the next day, and I was like, in a really bad way.
Callum, what drew you over to Nashville? Like, tell me the story of how you got here.
I did music as a hobby, and then I got a job on a TV show called Monarch, where I played a Texas country singer. Country was always my favorite kind of music anyway, but when I started working on that show pretending to be a country singer, I was like, I got to do this for real. This is so much fun, and this is my dream type thing. So as soon as I had the chance, I moved to Nashville and then started writing country music, started releasing country music, cracking on writing music, drinking too much, doing the old Nashville thing, you know.
Who are your biggest country music influences?
I'll slam some Wallen, you know, in the car on the way to a write, and then I'll play some Merle Haggard on the way home. It's just, and everything in between. And I worked with, I almost said Toby Keith there. I didn't work with Toby Keith. Love his music.
Dead.
Yeah. R.I.P. Legend.
I think he actually died the weekend of my Bachelorette. I think we killed him.
Did you? You didn't give him a shot or something, did you? No. Oh my God, Trace Adkins I worked with on Monarch, and he was like in the Toby Keith era. So, and they're both like tall country boys. So, I did work with Trace Adkins. Love his stuff. So, I don't know, just there's almost no country that I don't like. Even the stuff that gets criticized for not being like traditional kind of Western country, I'll still dig it. Like I'll still listen to it sometimes. So, yeah.
Do you find that you get a little bit of pushback here for being Scottish and not being American?
Weirdly, no. Everyone's like, oh, cool, you're Scottish. It's very accepting, because also there are people that live here that are from Nashville, and they're from or Georgia or Texas or whatever, and they're very southern in country. But like a lot of country singers are from like Wyoming and California and New York. So it's like, I mean, you can fly one way and get to California in 5 hours, and I'm like 7 hours the other way. So it's really not that much further away. I don't know. Keith Urban did it from Australia. So every generation needs a guy with a weird accent. That's what I'd say. And that's me this time, okay? Not Chris. Yeah, definitely not Chris. Nah, I'm kidding. Me and Chris have a song together, so, you know.
I love that song, Tamed by Tennessee.
Oh,
it's such a banger. I saw it was playing on Whiskey Row yesterday.
Playing at Whiskey Row, yeah. It's on Ward's playlist, so thank you, Ward. But yeah, it's doing well, and it probably is the song that got me the deal, which is cool. And so yeah, more of that to come, I hope.
You've been writing today. How did it go?
Good. We wrote a song called Before It Sets.
Ooh, what's it about? What's the concept?
Getting out of town before the sun sets, because you know what happens after dark. And you're only going to fall in love, and it's going to break your heart and their heart the next day when you got to leave. So get out before it sets.
Oh.
Yeah. In fact, I'm going to pull up the lyrics. A little spoken words teaser, all right? Let me know what you think of these absolute bars. Poetry, yeah, slam poetry, yeah. All right, here we go. Girl, you look like a late night. Old me would have stayed, but this heart didn't break right. I can fake it in the daylight, hide it in plain sight, but when dusk comes and it dawns on me, I'm wheels up, take flight. I'm going because I already know where your kind of late night goes. And then it goes into the chorus.
That was a bit of country rap, I feel.
When you in a Scottish accent as well, so it's probably horrible. But I swear it sounds good when there's a guitar under it.
It sounds good. Yeah. What is your favourite country music song to have sex to?
Wow. Here's the problem. If you put on a sexy song when you're trying to have sex, it's like you're working too hard. You know what I mean? But if it's not sexy, it just kind of becomes comical. So I don't know. I don't think the country playlist comes out when the candles are lit, you know? There is a fucking country song in your story.
I
Have you tried to write a song?
Well, maybe we should do it right. Yeah. Wine bars and vampires.
I've always stolen my heart.
Yeah. Okay, guys, we have been at the Girls in Low Places. This has been the Nashville times CMA Fest episode. Somebody put me on a flight back to London. I have got to stop drinking and get out of Nashville. See you later.